Well, today we've been given an incredible privilege and literally a bird's eye view of what these guys have to do once they step foot onto that ramp and jump 2,000 feet to the sea below. The walk to the jump. On this relatively cool February morning, 15 members of the Submarine Parachute Assistance Group make their way to the C-130 Hercules, which has been making a lot of noise over the past few days. In the late 60s, the Royal Navy identified the need for a parachute rescue team that could assist submarines in difficulty. They are tasked with rapid deployment and escape and knowledge rescue to provide advice and assistance to the crew of a distressed submarine, survivors on the surface, or any other rescue forces involved in the rescue effort. They are on 6-hour notice to take off 24 hours a day, all year round. And while thankfully they haven't had to jump into action too often in recent months or even years, training exercises can only improve the overall effectiveness of the team. Today, out over the Strait of Gibraltar, members of the local press were given a unique vantage point for today's jump. The members of the Submarine Parachute Assistance Group, or SPAG for short, are trained in water descent parachuting using both round and square static line parachutes. It's certainly not for the faint at heart.
You've obviously got to be prepared to step off the back of the Hercules. You know, as any sort of parachuting is, it's not for the faint-hearted. You know, but what we deliver, if we had to go on a live shout, you know, you're jumping off the back of the aeroplane to provide your fellow submariners with a certain amount of assistance should they need it. And you know, if I was certainly escaping from a submarine and I saw UK SPAG on the surface when I got there, they'd certainly be a friendly face.
It's unfortunately not been without controversy. Of course, there was an issue of a Spanish naval warship in the region. I mean, what do you do when something like that happens?
You know, primarily, that's not really my concern. All that does to us, it delays the actual exercising process. You know, the Royal Navy that are based here over at GBC Squadron, they deal with what they need to deal with, and all it does, ultimately, we do not step foot out the back of the aircraft until somewhere's safe to land. If it's not a safe drop zone, then we do not jump. The Navy from GBC Squadron will deal with that in the way that they deal with it, and then once it's safe to jump, then we will jump.
The view is breathtaking, and we can only imagine the sensation even more so. But these men are prepared, have trained, and are ready. Notice the amount of equipment on them, not to mention the weight they must be carrying as they drop, and the immediate deployment of their parachutes, and their eventual destination, cold wintry water below. It's an unenviable task, but one very impressive when seen up close, and it goes to show the level of dedication and commitment of these men. This is a training exercise, but just imagine dropping down on a crisis for real. This is continuation training. The climate in this part of the world and the support they receive from the Royal Air Force, the Gibraltar Squadron, and the Gibraltar Defence Police all helping towards a productive exercise session. That is, unless the winds play up, which they did during our drop this morning, which meant a few delays. But in the end, all members of the team successfully executed their med drop.